What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Horizon Forbidden West is here, and the recommended specs pretty much match almost to a T to what I have here for you guys that are looking to coming towards the PC side. Maybe wanting to skip the PS5, that's your prerogative. And I think it's interesting because a lot of the specs are quite cool. They're asking a Ryzen 5 3600. This build that we're actually going to be looking at the game on has a Ryzen 5 5500. They're asking for 16 gigs of RAM, an RTX 3060 or Radeon 5700. This build also rocks a 3060 in order for you to be able to leverage what they think will be the very best quality in terms of playing the game. This is also a port by Nixus, and their ports usually don't miss the mark, and I'm sure many of you have seen what's going on. However, we're looking at this video from a different perspective. We're coming from it at the perspective of when you mention that you can actually get better value from a PC, some people would love to see the numbers to support that. So today we have the numbers out here of what I've spent so far on running my PlayStation 5, which is actually $910 after buying the game, the console, buying and one extra controller, paying for PlayStation Plus, also the premium cost of games for those years, anywhere from $10 to $15 per game. Add that up with the number of games that I've actually purchased in terms of even third parties, which are more expensive on the console, and even first parties, you will see that this discrepancy is actually around 160, even more. And for some people who buy more games, their total for what they've spent on their PlayStation platform is even much more. When you come to the PC side, you can actually get the job done with around $650. These prices, some of them include their taxes and some of them don't include their taxes. But when we added everything up in a separate video, we came out to about $650. And that includes a Ryzen 5 5500, which is the CPU being used here, an RTX 3060, 12 gigabytes, a case, which you can buy one of the Thermaltake Core V1 cases for $50 or any other case of your choice. You can buy a PSU for under $40. You can buy RAM, 16 gigs of VRAM for anywhere about $30 or even maybe a little more if you want to buy something with, higher clock speed or higher frequency. You can get yourself storage for about $45 for 1 terabyte. You'll be good to go. And that's basically all you need. Your motherboard can hover anywhere from, I bought mine for $85 after taxes, so I put it here. You can get some for less if you go even, on the used side, but mine was a mini ITX, and I really wanted that small form because I'm trying to use this to build something else. However, I've thrown some of those components into one of my desktop cases here, and we have similar metrics in terms of that build, and we're going to basically pit it against Horizon Forbidden West to see how it does. So let's go ahead and take a look at the settings. This is the first time I'm actually launching the game, so it may ask for some, shader compilation timeframes. We're going to turn off any upscaling methods. One of the things that you really want to do is you want to basically just say, don't do any dynamic resolution, turn off my VSync for now. Let's just go ahead and just see what is going on in terms of raw rasterization, and then let's just go ahead and fire up the game. I think this is, in my opinion, the best way to tell if the game is actually ready for, console consumption. And it's interesting, at the end of the day, to go ahead and look at these metrics and look at 1080p gaming and see that you can actually get the best in terms of 1080p gaming. Let me go ahead and answer this prompt. Like I said, I've never actually, fired the game up right in front of you guys. Colorblind mode, nope. Confirm privacy settings, limited data. Is there a no data privacy setting thing? Full data, limited data. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Sony wanted to take my data. And we're just basically going to jump right into the game, and we're going to basically see what the game has to offer from a gameplay perspective. So let's go ahead and jump into some gameplay now. All right, man, guys, I had to endure an enormous amount of exposition and just a bunch of cutscenes and acting. Like, I don't know, when people are memeing PlayStation games and talking about how, you basically hold your controller. My controller has just been in my hand for like almost 10 minutes straight. I'm like, this is probably why I don't play a lot of, PlayStation games anymore. Simply because I just feel like I'm holding the controller more than I'm actually playing the game. FPS right now is sitting at 54 FPS. I think we need to go back and look at the settings again, and possibly this is where we're going to apply some upscaling. So I went with raw raster just to be able to kind of get a sense of, what it is that we're going to be doing out here, because, this is a pretty looking game. Does she jump? Tap once to heal your medicine or whatever. Okay, we're doing tutorials and stuff. Where am I going? We should keep going. Okay, so now can I jump? Golly, they had to like talk to me before they let me jump. Anyways, 50 FPS, raw, no upscaling, nothing. And I remember in the conversations from Digital Foundry, they actually did a preview. They talked about how, you know, some upscaling technologies are used when it comes to like the game. So possibly if we implement some of those, we'll be able to get, you know, some interesting performance, you know, boosts overall. So let's go ahead and see if we can go into the graphics settings. Everything is on high right now. And let's see if we can actually implement. Let's reset these settings and see what goes on. So full screen, dynamic resolution scaling at 60% DLAA, DLSS. Let's see what happens there. So now we're sitting at 60 FPS. Still about the same thing, nothing crazy. But the game is giving me pretty much what I think is a solid performance overall. This is, I mean, I can't even complain because, again, I built this particular build. Oh, is she falling down? Oh. I built this build to be able to, you know, push against what people usually say. Oh, you need a $1,200 build for you to be able to run PlayStation 5 games or whatever it is. And I'm like, no, you don't. I think it's been a misconception all this while. And I've also noticed that on the, you know, on the big space, right, where people are talking about the, you know, $500 PC and stuff, a lot of folk don't really talk about the true cost of a console. It's a more expensive device than $500. $500 is just a subsidized fee that the console manufacturer has to actually charge you, because the console is a different kind of technology where they actually have to put things together, whereas the individual pieces that you get for the PC, you're able to basically go and, you know, take it up a notch a little bit. Another thing too is because of the way the budget is, remember we're only spending $650 from, you know, the $900 or so dollars. We can improve our performance by taking some of that money and getting even a slightly better GPU, even a slightly better CPU for just fractions of the cost. In fact, from the CPU side, you can add an extra $40 and you get yourself the Ryzen 5 5600X. You can even go with a 6800. I didn't go with a 6800 because I have a 6800 XT. It's sitting right here. I kind of removed it to basically put this GPU in there. And so it didn't make any sense. I said, you know what, let me get myself another NVIDIA card that is on the low end that can do 1080p and pretty much just come, you know, showcase what you're capable of doing even at that, you know, at that price point and even at that performance point. So this is actually pretty interesting overall to be able to see that, you know, this computer that costs less than you would actually spend when it comes to running your console is doing, you know, good for what it's actually set out to do. And I have no complaints overall. If I was playing this on a $650 budget, you know, I'd be elated because now I have an entry into PC gaming without having to break bank, without having to worry about people saying, oh, you have to spend thousands of dollars. No, you don't. You spend less money on the games. You get the better version. This is a version that comes with, you know, a lot of different settings that you can pretty much, you know, go ahead and leverage in terms of pretty much. Oh, VSync is on. Let's go ahead and turn VSync off because VSync will lock it to 60 FPS. And then once it's off, then you can basically get any extra that you need. So now we're still hovering around a 60 FPS path. I think our biggest challenge here is the RAM. Where am I even going? I don't even know where I'm going in this game. I think our biggest challenge is basically RAM overall. How much RAM you actually do have. Oh, can she climb? We're supposed to be going this way. Let's see if we can jump on here. Okay. Our biggest challenge is getting maybe a little bit more RAM to be able to leverage more. But man, at 60, 1080p, high settings, I cannot complain at all. I think this is actually, in my opinion, quite surprising. I thought, okay, maybe this game is going to, you know, suffer around the 40 FPS. But, I mean, not with Nixes calling the shots. Nixes don't play around. So, usually what you're going to see is that you can pretty much maintain a solid 60 FPS and just move from there on average. One thing I will say is this GPU, I purposefully got this particular GPU. It's a single fan GPU. Its temperature is right now at 75 degrees, which I have no problem with that. But I got a single fan because I didn't want to deal with the dual fan that was available on the market for that price point. It was an MSI Ventus, which those are not necessarily the greatest. But let me go ahead and play this game a little bit more. Let's see what's going on. We'll probably drop the settings a little bit to low settings to see what happens. Maybe use some upscaling, you know. Let's see what's going on here. So, display, NVIDIA low reflex. Let's see, when enable the reduce latency from GPU. Boost mode will try to reduce latency from the CPU as well. Dynamic resolution scaling can be set to targeted. Off upscale quality. Let's use some upscaling. Let's see. Now we're talking. There you go. See? So with some little tricks here, you know, some resolution scaling and stuff, you can now improve your, you know, your frames and also maintain some decent image quality. And again, because you're in the RTX series, you have access to some really cool, you know, technologies that are available to you. If we had gone with the 4060, which is also in the same price point, we'd have, you know, I think is a good or slightly better performance, but we'll be limited on VRAM. And I didn't want to limit my, you know, this build on VRAM. I wanted to, at the same time, have access to more VRAM to be able to do some other tasks as well, because you want to maximize value when you're building a computer. You want your computer to be able to do a lot for your dollar. So you really kind of have to sit down and think about, okay, what could I potentially use my PC for? Because as many people may say, okay, I'm going to dabble into PC gaming, you know, it may become that PC gaming turns into content creation. It may become that PC gaming becomes, you know, game development, or maybe just exploring those little things. And so now you have yourself, you know, a much, what I think a much stronger proposition in terms of a device that can get the job, you know, done. Okay, what is she trying to do here? I can't talk and play video games much at the same time. Like, have you guys tried to see me stream before? I either just shut up and play the game, or I go ahead and talk. What is this? Weapon wheel. Oh, quick craft arrows. We don't have any arrows. Okay. Crafted an arrow. Also, we got to shoot that thing down. What am I doing? Hold, draw bow, and fire. Man, you have to fire it at a certain distance? Oof, what a game. Anyways, I mean, you can see the performance for yourself. I'm just going to play a little bit more. I'm going to shut up. The temps are going to eventually be going down, and the GPU usage is so cool. I don't know what Nixus does, man, but those guys, they're alchemists when it comes to basically ensuring that they can properly write you know, their games. They can probably write the game code to utilize as much resources as possible. And I'm sure there are techniques to do that. I envy that for somebody who's making and working on making his own video game. I strongly believe that, you know, that's something that I'll probably need in the future to be able to get our game to run at the very best quality that it can. And so I'm just watching, just looking at a lot of these folk just, you know, do some cool stuff. And it's really interesting. We're about to jump into a little bit more in terms of cutscenes and all that stuff. And I remember in Digital Foundry, they were talking about how, you know, some of the cutscenes basically play using some interesting settings overall. I can't really remember all of the details, but I'm certain that anyone can say that this is satisfactory performance at the price point, especially when you know that you're going to basically be saving money. You have the opportunity to even, you know, have a better performing device, and also a device that has broader range in terms of use and capability. But let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience. I'm probably not going to play this game other than doing another GPU or CPU, you know, analysis in terms of metrics. I don't know. Horizon is not necessarily my type of game. It's a really good, you know, proposition, beautiful graphics and all that. But again, I prefer to just be in the action immediately for the most part. I don't know. Maybe it's just something about, I tried to play the first game too, and I just got the same, I got tired as well. But this game really looks good. Everything about this game is easy on the eyes in many, many ways. I can't imagine, you know, how this game always finds itself at odds with some other bangers that just beat it. Perhaps there's something that's missing, and gamers just are not necessarily too fond of games like this. I'll get out of your hair, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video. Appreciate you guys so much. Peace out.